I was sleeping another night away, kind of in pain. My guts were just hurting like nobody's business. For once, I actually had a lot to complain about. At least nobody was trying to kill me. I had some fancy medicine around. I was going to try and use that instead of what I'd been using. All was quiet around. Decided I didn't need to do any more research. As I was laying there in pain, I was going to take apart my research bench, see what I could reclaim from that. When I woke up, I did a little cleaning, ate some of that stir fry, disassembled the research bench, decided to do a little bit of mining. I was going to need some kind of steel, I suspected, for getting out of here. I had noticed some components nearby, compacted up in the mountains, so I was going to try and free them as well, take them with me on my journey. My guts are hurting like nobody's business, but I was doing my best, mine through some steel. And I got sick of that, went and plucked potatoes for a bit. Then I was going to have to deal with these muffalo. I chased one of them all the way around the rice patch, despite my guts hurting. Darn thing, he probably thought it was comical, thought we were playing some kind of a game. Had myself some stir fry, and did a little bit more cleaning. After that, it was time to try and keep these muffalo tame. You know how they are, you don't stay on top of them. They think they're the boss, or they wander off. I worked on that for a little while with them fellas, and then I decided to try and toss horseshoes. I was barfing my guts out half the time though. The muffalo were milling around. My dog seemed pretty happy. Sadly, I was in such pain I was having a hard time enjoying anything. Decided to have a little more food and get off the bed. I think these gut worms are sucking down half the nutrition I was eating. Somebody called me, being chased, wanting some help. I was in no mood for it though. Told him to push on. When I woke up, I cleaned, built a stone cutting table, thinking I was going to have to make some blocks to bring with me on my journey. I plucked some potatoes as well. I got back to doing that. Big chunk of my crop was coming due. And about that time, convict's old lady gave birth to 2 little puppies. I named them Alina and Brittany. They were both little girls. And right away, they were running around like crazy, doing cute puppy stuff. So I was happy for them, despite my own pains, despite how much I had to chase these muffalo around to try and keep them tame. And it's always nice to have a puppy around. They're cute. I'm not going to let them in my place if I can help it. Don't need them peeing up the place and pooping up the place. So, worked on the potatoes, had a meal. I worked on the potatoes some more. Then I decided I was going to have to chop a bunch of trees. Where I was going, there might not be any trees around, so I was going to stock up on wood, bring some with me. At least enough to build a stone cutting table when I get there. Periodically, to take a break, work with these muffalo. So darn many of them. And then I was back to chopping trees again. My hauling robot was helping out, carrying stuff. Transport pod crashed down. But it looked like Emily popped right up and started tending herself. She's pretty creepy over there behind the mountain, so I figured I'd just leave her alone. I didn't need any trouble. And she'd be just fine on her own, it seemed. So I chopped wood most of the day, hauled back what I could, and then I was off to bed. Got up and tended myself with some of that fancy medicine. It seemed to be doing the trick, I guess. I was feeling a little bit better overall, with the good tending and all. Planned on doing some cleaning when I got up, and that's what I did. Place is such a nightmare with all these dogs and this hauling robot. I had a rat self-tame, decided to come hang out and be friendly. I remember having a pet rat back on Earth when I was a kid. Just a weird little thing. I was contemplating back on Earth as I was taking a walk around before I got back to working with these muffalo. Fortunately, the stir fry is keeping me well fed. That was a real godsend. Haven't fallen out of the sky like that. I worked with these Muffalo non-stop, chasing them around, trying to teach them stuff. They're pretty much just big dumb animals though. So they didn't learn as well as the dogs did. Decided not to let that rat in my house. Don't need him in there. I was still debating keeping the dogs out. As I was working with Muffalo after Muffalo after Muffalo here. But I was getting there. At some point I could just give up and get on my way. Most of these Muffalo are gonna get butchered where I'm going. Assuming there's no food for them. Assuming it's gonna be cold as well. And a little bit of meat in the freezer. Certainly isn't gonna hurt. I was gonna see how much food I could get together before I left. Some transport pods crashed down as I was doing some mining. A bunch of blueberries. That was a welcome treat. Get some vitamin C in me. I mined a good chunk of the day, trying to stay up out of the rain. Occasionally eating a little bit of stir fry. And by then, it was pretty late, so I was gonna have to call it. And when I woke up, the usual antics, a little bit of cleaning, followed by plucking rice. Occasionally stopping to work with the Muffalo. There was a rabbit milling around trying to eat my rice, but I wasn't too concerned with him. I was concerned with training Muffalo, however. I was chasing after these things all over the place. After that, I ran on inside, had myself some pemmican, looking at what a mess my house is becoming still. I just can't keep up on it without no cleaner robot around. Tell you what, that guy was worth his weight in gold, man. Had myself a garden tea after cleaning. I was back to working with the Muffalo. The rat had taken to hanging out with the Muffalo. Kind of a cute scenario. Some of the Muffalo need to be milked as well, so I ran about doing that. After a while, decided to come on inside, sit down, play chess in my filthy, stinky house. And I see the culprits here running through all dirty and mangy. I finally decided to keep them old dogs out. Hamlet doesn't sleep next to me anyway. Ever since this convict dog came around, I never should have bought that dog. Maybe I'm a little jealous. But anyway, I'm gonna keep the dogs out of the house and keep the mess down a bit. So I went back to plucking rice despite the weird hour. It sure was dark. And when I woke up, about 5 a.m., cleaned up a bit and got back to the rice. I was gonna see if I could make one last harvest of rice into pemmican with all the dead animals I had in the freezer yet. See if I could get enough pemmican to last me till I can get off this rock. While I was doing that rice, a turkey came around, acting all friendly and stuff. And I gave him a little pat on the head, told him to come on inside. He wants to come with for the journey, I guess that's fine, but it's certainly not going to be good for its health. Maybe I'll sell it off to somebody, but they're just going to kill it. Not that I might not. I worked on the rice for most of the day. I went on inside and sat down to chill out. I noticed that hauling robot was creating a mighty mess in my house as well. Since I needed stuff hauled, though, I couldn't very well keep him out. I was thinking about adding some extra doors, but that's just going to take more work and more time. I was trying to be focused here. Working on the rice, eating some stir fry, back to working on the rice. So after I worked on the rice for a while, I carried in what I could. I was off to bed. I woke up about 6 a.m. once again. Right back to the business. Plucking rice out of the ground and eating stir fry. Skipped my morning meal. I was so motivated to get some work done. And after that, there were still a whole bunch of trees that needed chopping. Not sure how much of this stuff I'm going to be able to bring with me anyway. I wasn't going to collect too much. One of my dogs, the puppy, is getting hunted by a grizzly bear. I gave her the old get inside whistle from across the area. In she ran. That stupid bear went for her despite my traps and ended up getting himself killed. I guess that's going to be some more meat. Sadly though, I was going to have to build them traps back, which is kind of a hassle. Maybe I'll make a nice bear fur coat out of that guy. I got the traps rebuilt. I had to work with the dogs, keep them trained up. And then I had to work with the muffalo, try and keep all them trained up. So once again, this is a never-ending process. Milking muffalo everywhere, dropping milk on the ground for the hauling robot to pick up. Trying to keep these guys tame. Got back to a little bit of mining after that. In between milking muffalo and mining. And after working for a while, it's time to head back. Found a bunch of components. I'm gonna make those mine. I'm gonna need them. See if I can build some nice defenses when I get where I'm going. After that, I was off to bed. My bear ended up in the dead pile next to a bunch of rocks, and I wanted him in the freezer. That's easy enough to accomplish with this hauling robot around. It does the job for you. When I woke up, I cleaned, had some stir fry followed by some tea. And then it was back to muffalo time. The baby muffalo needed some attention, which I wasn't having any luck at. Then I ran down, tossed some horseshoes. About that time, a shaman merchant showed up. That'd be good. I could go deal with him. Maybe sell some of his crap off. Maybe he's into baby dogs or baby muffalo. After tossing horseshoes, I got to the business making pemmican. So I had all kinds of supplies around. I might as well do that in between mining, milking, shearing. I butchered up that bear. He sure did make a lot of meat. Trying to get my hauling robot properly move the supplies around so I could do the cooking. My last hauling robot was right on top of the game. This guy still had a few things to figure out with his little AI program. I ran on out, talked to that shaman. About that time, some Navy scientist was passing by as well. They had a bunch of beer. I was thinking I was just going to buy them all. Why wouldn't you? Might be the last beers I get while I'm here. Help me enjoy my time a little bit. So I did. 33 more beer. I stopped to drink one immediately. That's how desperate I was. And I got them stored. They were coming on in, using my house, using my table as if they belonged here. Customs here seem a little weird. Not quite what they were back on Earth. I ended up cooking a good chunk of the day. One of my dogs was having trouble. Both the puppies had gotten into the alcohol, and both the puppies had gotten extremely drunk. I noticed a few bottles missing. Pretty sure this must have happened when they were sitting outside before someone hauled them bottles in. Dirty old dogs drinking up my beer. I don't know what to say about that, other than it makes me a little bit mad, but I double checked they weren't getting into it anymore. And I went on about the business of cleaning until I got too tired, hit the hay. And when I got up, I was right back to the business of cooking. Occasionally stopping for a meal. Occasionally stopping to do some cleaning as well. There was a whole bunch of rice. There was a whole bunch of dead animals in here. So I was going to get it all turned into pemmican. I spent some time working with the baby muffalo. I got him trained up. I went back and did some mining as well. See if I could nab the rest of those components. There was also still wood laying around from a big wood chopping exercise. So I brought some of that in as well. I got it all put away. I ran on out and grabbed some more. Seems like this hauling robot might have to pick up the pace. He's sitting on the charger all day. Maybe his batteries are going bad. I saw one of the dogs barfing his guts out. He was drunk. Somehow I feel like this is my problem. Decided I had enough rice sitting around. I could set out some food for the animals. It wouldn't last long, but that's okay. And the hauling robot should drag it out there. Turns out, when the dogs could go anywhere, they were just eating food out of the house. Now they don't know what to eat. Dumb things. These dogs are too tame, they won't go hunt. I'm starting to get a little crabby on Hamlet, despite him having been such a great friend this whole time. I think the mess inside the house definitely cleared up a bit after I blocked those guys from coming on in. I was getting back to the business of cooking after the dogs had had a feast on rice, and a bunch of jerks showed up. Decided they were going to attack me. I wasn't too worried about it though. There wasn't too many of them. Pretty sure my traps would take care of them. And they were going to mill about for a while, make some kind of strategy plan for attacking. I decided I was just going to ignore them for the time being. I went on inside after working with some animals, just sat down to chill out for a bit. Kept getting notified, figuring out that my muffalo were pregnant. That was 2 in a row. One of these male muffalos is hot to trot, man. It's getting a little frustrating. I was off to bed after that. Didn't take too long before those morons decided to try and come give me the business. I told all the animals to go inside. Told that robot to stay inside as well. Last thing I need is that guy getting smashed up. The loss of that cleaning robot has struck me harder than anything, I'll tell you what. And then I decided to stand and wait with my gun ready right in my front door. See if I could scare them off that way, but they weren't having it. Of course, they had to learn the hard way. Then I shot up some guy named Donkey a couple times and he went down. And I shot up some guy named Skunk, but I had to run on inside. Some other jerk was chasing after me and got pretty close. Turns out these guys are all named after animals. Ibis died on a trap. Hyena was bashing on my door. I shot him right in the head, but he didn't go down. Zebra came and fell down on my trap. Got himself hurt pretty bad. Hyena, Skunk, and Locust were taking off. I was going to give them the business. Zebra didn't last long. I was trying to get Skunk as best I could. Ended up taking it down too. That just left Locust, who was buzzing away at most speed they could manage. Of course, I wasn't the fastest guy myself. So in the end, Locust was safe. But oh well. That's going to give me a bunch more work. I went on inside, butchered up a rabbit, had a little food, decided to do a little cooking. My pemmican supplies are getting up there. After that I went to sleep. Transport pod crashed down. Someone who was angry with me about something, didn't like men in general it seems like. You don't like men? Well then I'm not going to save you. Because turns out I'm a man. When I woke up, I was right back to cooking. The place was a filthy mess. One that I should probably clean up. But at the minute, I was just focused on what I was doing. About that time, that pleasant feeling settled over me, which is pretty nice. I was feeling good, just cooking, watching that hauling robot drag filth through my house. I don't know how something that flies could drag filth in and out, but I guess it's always going around with a little dust cloud around it. I cooked the better part of the day. One of my puppies is getting hunted by a dirty old timber wolf. I was going to have to give the old whistle, get her to come on inside. Well, she listened, and it worked out. And then the timber wolf just started eating the dead humans that were laying around, which was a little disgusting, but oh well. Better than killing my dog. Not that I even really wanted the dog, but well, as I slept and Aurora was on, one of them big crazy horned thrumbo creatures showed up. I wasn't going to get involved with that guy. Haven't had that happen a few times. I was focusing on cooking. Wasn't the fastest thing I'd done. Occasionally stopping for a garden tea. Play a little bit of chess. Work on some new strategies. Which is difficult when I can't even test my old strategies. But it gives me something to think about. I kept butchering creatures, cooking food, running out of animals to butcher, which is a good thing. Decided I was going to make a bunch of bedrolls, see if I could get a better one than the one I had. And I had tons of materials around. About that time, started feeling real off, real weird. Turns out I'd come down with malaria or something. That was not good. I was going to end up having to sleep around, not do much here. Hopefully I'd get by. I worked on cooking for a bit. Got some of that put away. Decided some cleaning was in order, lest I get sick from the food I'm making. And I kept focusing, trying to get through all this cooking before I had to go lay down for a couple days, no doubt. I was feeling pretty crappy, and the malaria was kicking my butt, I do believe. Decided to use some of them fancy medicines once again. I had some traps that needed to be rebuilt. I couldn't get lax with the security, and then I was off to bed. I laid down, not feeling good at all, I can tell you what. And when it was time to be tended, I jumped right on top of that, just to make sure things got done well as possible considering my state. Built a bunch of bedrolls to see what I could accomplish. Disassembled some of my benches. Never gonna need them. I don't even think I'm gonna get to stone cutting, even with all these muffalo. Turns out it's too difficult to carry that stuff across the whole planet. The stone blocks are too heavy. Steel's pretty heavy. I had a tortoise come around. I'd never met a friendly tortoise before, but this little guy sure was. I was gonna let him hang out for a bit. It's just fine with me. I'd run out of rice, so the dogs weren't gonna have any food for a bit. I had a wild man wander in about that time. Crazy looking fella with a ponytail. And some visitors showed up as well. Just a hub of activity around here. I decided to lay in bed, not get up, see if I could get myself well. But the lure, talking to those people was pretty strong. I didn't really have anything to trade, except for one old fella. So I got up and tended myself. Sat down and had a bit of pemmican. I had to stay nourished here. Then I had a garden tea. Decided I was going to toss horseshoes after that. With all these animals, robots running around. Give me something peaceful to do somewhere, I guess. After I was done tossing horseshoes, I ran on out to do some trading. I felt bad. Hope I don't give this fella malaria. Decided I was going to keep most of my clothes. I might need them where I was going. Yeah, and I bought some medicine as well off him. Seemed like a good play. After that, it was back to bed. Trying to heal up. Trying to get over this malaria. I was getting there, slowly but surely. Transport pod crashed down about that time again. Some fella named Mallard. I didn't like the fact that he was named after an animal. After all, them other people that just tried to kill me were named after animals. So I decided I wasn't going to get involved with Mallard. Those traders left me a nice gift of 6 components when they left. That was right friendly of them. Hopefully they don't get malaria. Which certainly wasn't my intention to get them sick. About that time, the pleasant feeling that settled over me earlier dissipated. Started being my usual crabby self again. While I slept, I felt a bit inspired, feeling pretty gung-ho to do some trading, talk to somebody again. I was getting over the malaria, but it was taking days, man. The place was a super pigsty. I had to get up and eat, tend to myself periodically before laying back down, trying not to die. And it wouldn't be long at this point. I'd be just fine once again. Bulk goods trader going by. Decided I couldn't miss that opportunity. I was going to have to get up and call him. Despite my illness, I sold them baby dogs, bought some muffalo, sold some baby muffalos, sold all kinds of skins and leathers and furs I was sitting on, and some other random stuff that was around that I was never going to use. Sadly, they weren't interested in my mortar. I was going to move my beacon, see if I could sell them some more stuff. Turns out I had way too many bedrolls. One man only needs one bedroll. I'd bought some components, some wake up, a bunch of plasteel. I wish they had a cleaning robot, but that was a no-go. I moved my beacon, gave him another call. Sold a bunch of them bedrolls I wasn't going to use. Some extra leather as well. I sold them all my ironwood, which I wasn't going to use. I bought some garden teas, which are always useful. Didn't want to buy any food off them. Can't really trust people these days. Gonna run around getting myself sick all day. End up picking up a bunch of silver as well. I was getting near to being over the malaria. The muffalo were enjoying each other's company. About that time, my friendly tortoise got attacked by a timber wolf. I was in no condition to go over there and assist. And it didn't take long before that timber wolf got the better part of that tortoise. But the tortoise did enough damage that wolf wasn't going to survive. I guess the joke's on him. That was a difficult meal when he could have just eaten them dead bodies I'd left around. I was almost over the malaria, and then I finally was, and it was a fantastic feeling. Beyond the up and up. Decided I was going to pull all the potatoes I had laying around. And it was high time I got on out of here. I'd spent too much time about. I was going to run around, install everything I thought I might want to bring with me. Which is only going to be the useful things. Horseshoe pin, chest table, my bed. I'd probably bring all these potatoes if these muffalo could hold them, but we're going to have to see what all can be brought. I think I'm going to be a little bit depressed when I realize what I have to leave behind. There was a bunch of ambrosia about. I didn't want to leave that. That could make a guy happy if I get too down. So I plucked all that. Which didn't take too long. Of course, them dogs show up. I think them dogs have a chemical interest, if I'm being honest with you here. Got them all brought in. And got the potatoes put away, along with the rest of the junk I had laying about. And at that point, I decided that was it. I was going to sleep the next night on the road, if I could help it anyway. So I got to the business, loading everything up. I took pemmican, medicine, some of the drugs, garden teas, some of my recreation activities, my bed. It was going to be 15.6 days away, roughly, as it stands. To get to where that ship was. Looked like a pretty barren location. And then I was off. I had to run around, round up all the animals that were included. So I ran around, tagged them all. That dirty old timber wolf was dying. The one that killed my tortoise. Found out Convict was pregnant about that time too. I went inside, had a meal, milled about for a little bit. place was such a mess, but there was no more cleaning this. I was going to be out of here in no time. I walked around, assessing all the animals, making sure everybody was in decent health. Then I started packing them up. Before I passed out on the floor, I got too excited, but then I got too tired, and my bed was already put away. So I was laying there on my face, sleeping, before I finally got up, decided to do some more work, and I packed several more hours before passing out again in my storeroom, just right on the ground, cuddling my gun like a baby. I tell you, turns out, trying to pack this many creatures, this many buffaloes, get all these dogs and everything together, it's a big hassle. When I woke up, I was right starving, so I ate some potatoes. Then I got back to the business, loading up these critters. I swear it took days to get this stuff all ready, all loaded up, ready to get out of here. More than a little frustrating, if you ask me. I was leaving behind a lot of good stuff. Once again, can't take it with you. Only gotta take what makes the most sense. But eventually, seemed like days later, I was ready to skin on out. And out we went. I was back on the road, and it felt kinda nice. I put that old place out of my mind. Night settled in. I was feeling pretty good. It's gonna be quite a walk, 21.3 days. Was how much food I had. I was 16 days away from my destination. I may end up having to buy some. We'll see. I'm sure I'll get there eventually.